Public urination, defecation, and drug use. How local businesses are fighting back.
Plus, we revisit a motel in Barrio Logan where neighbors say sex workers are still a problem.
The new traffic calming bollards on Diamond Street will show you how they're working so far.
And local students speak out about today's Supreme Court decision on affirmative action. CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
Tonight, downtown San Diego is being called an open-air drug zone by some as businesses get ready to sue the city to clean up neighborhood sidewalks and streets. Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Chiquetto. A group of residents and business owners say downtown that the city's homeless population has hurt those businesses and the quality of life. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes is following the developing story for us. Kirsten, this is just a claim at this point, right? Not a lawsuit. And what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so the attorneys say it's just a claim. It's not a lawsuit yet. It could become a lawsuit soon if the city doesn't act. I'm here at the corner of 10th and B Street. I want you to take a look around me so you can get an idea of the problem. Right here, you have a beautiful new restaurant that just opened. It smells amazing. Right next door, there's a residential building where a lot of people have been coming in and out. And just a few feet away, you see tents as people experiencing homelessness say they have nowhere else to go.
People say there's a homeless crisis in San Diego. I'd say that there's a drug and lawlessness crisis in San Diego.
Jonathan Cavuto lives and works downtown. He and his attorney submitted a legal claim before they file a lawsuit demanding that the city act and clean up the sidewalk and the street because Jonathan says the problem is only getting worse.
Our unhoused neighbors, I think it's unfortunate, and I've tried to be compassionate, but how about being compassionate for the business owners and property owners downtown?
Public urination, public defecation, there's needles in the street, there's vomit in the street, there's bodies in the street.
Craig Combs with Community Council represents a group of 7 businesses and residential homeowners in a 4-block area downtown, and he says there's also an open-air drug zone.
We're just asking that the city enforce the laws that are on the books. They've passed a new ordinance, and great, but we have an emergency every single day threatening the life and health and safety of the residents, business owners, and guests downtown. Enforce the laws against blocking sidewalks, enforce the laws against drug use and public urination and public defecation. That would be a great start.
The city of San Diego just approved an unsafe camping ordinance to outlaw homeless encampments in and near city parks, adjacent to schools, and where shelter space is available to help clear streets of homeless encampments. Jonathan says do more now or else they're taking their claim to court.
You know, there's been a lot of talk about this new ordinance about no camping on the street. It's already illegal to do all this stuff. It's illegal to defecate in my driveway every day. It's illegal to urinate in my driveway and my doorway. It's illegal to shoot up drugs in the street. To say you're America's finest city, but people are defecating in the street, there's an open-air drug market, there's dead body, this week, dead body, 10th Avenue, and it's just pretty regular.
We have been here on 10th Avenue for a few hours today, and I want to tell you, I have seen this business owner actually have to escort a man out of his business. Someone just walked in, sat down on the floor, having a mental health crisis. That was the second time I think one of his attendants has been scared away from the front door. So this business is definitely dealing with an issue that they hope to see addressed soon. They're not a part of the lawsuit, but they say they are suffering as well. We reached out to the city of San Diego for comment on this story. They responded saying because it is precursor to litigation, they can't comment. But in recent weeks, Mayor Todd Gloria has pushed hard in favor of the camping ban ordinance, saying that it's needed for the safety and residence of those living and walking downtown and for those living in the tents. Reporting live for CBS 8, I'm Kirsten Holmes. Back to you.
Kirsten, thanks. So yes, just this week the City Council passed that no camping ban. Mayor Gloria signed it today, so it'll take effect at the end of next month. What do you know about the safe sleeping sites that the mayor has talked about?
Okay, so Mayor Gloria recently announced 2 new safe sleeping sites where the unhoused can have access to a tent with a cot. The first site has 136 spaces. I believe it will be open sometime in July. And there is another additional 400 spaces that should be available near Balboa Park sometime soon. But homeless advocates say that is just a drop in the bucket for the number of beds that San Diego really needs. Marcella?
All right, moving slowly, but hopefully making some headway there. Thanks so much, Kirsten. Again, San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria did sign that unsafe camping ordinance into law today. It goes into effect 30 days from today and will ban homeless encampments in all public spaces throughout the city if shelter beds are available.
CBS 8 is working for you to monitor criminal activity on Dalbergia Street in Barrio Logan. The city has targeted a motel in the area as an alleged hub of prostitution activity. As our David Goffredson reports, business owners still report seeing sex workers out on the street.
The parade of what appears to be sex workers and Johns in cars continues along Dalbergia Street in Barrio Logan. This video was shot on Monday. Business owners in the area tell us they continue to see prostitution in broad daylight. This video was shot on June 15th, despite crackdowns by San Diego police and the city attorney's office.
You know, we haven't seen a lot of change, to be quite honest. We do see a little bit more activity with the police. They're kind of roaming around and, you know, they're driving up and down the street. There's a lot of activity, or they're rebuilding stuff in the neighborhood. So I think that may have slowed it down a little bit, but, you know, they're still out there.
Looks like she's going to get inside the vehicle.
In February, San Diego police arrested 48 people in the area during an undercover sting operation. Just last month, the city attorney announced a settlement in a lawsuit against the owners of the Main Street Motel, described in court papers as a hotbed for prostitution. I stopped by and saw the motel remains closed for renovations.
A lot of them were staying there, you know, that was kind of their central hub, but they really come from all over. You know, we see them walking over from National City. There's still a lot of hotels, you know, just a few blocks away where they stay, and we see them walking down the boulevard just to come to this area.
I recorded this video at 1:30 in the afternoon, driving along Dalbergia Street. Then there's this surveillance video from June 13th, showing two women fighting in the street at 1 a.m. Eventually, a third woman gets involved in the melee as the brawl continues from one side of the street to the other. A business owner told me they found this clump of hair in the street the next morning. To be fair, San Diego police do show up and write tickets when they can, but business owners say officers really need to focus their attention on Friday and Saturday nights into the early morning hours.
It's not necessarily the locations where they're staying, it's actually where they're doing the dirty deed that they have to crack down on.
Now, it's important to note the motel is on Main Street. The video you saw in our report was shot a couple blocks away on Dalbergia Street. And apparently the motel being shut down is having very little effect on the sex trade up the street. We'll keep working for you to keep an eye on what's happening here in Barrio Logan. David Goffredson, CBS 8.
Thanks, David. CBS 8 reached out to San Diego police for comment about the number of patrols in the area. We'll let you know if and when we hear back.
Advocates are calling on local leaders to improve conditions at our county jail. The Racial Justice Coalition is holding a community town hall in Chula Vista tonight about the in-custody deaths. They held a news conference earlier today at the courthouse on Broadway Street in San Diego. Last year, 19 people died while incarcerated at the county jail, which was a record high. There have been 7 so far this year. One of the attorneys in a lawsuit against the county and sheriff's department says leaders should be working to make jails safer.
Oversight agencies, experts, journalists, community groups, and grieving family members have been demanding changes for years.
The most recent in-custody death happened on Monday night. A 66-year-old man died at the hospital 10 days after he was taken into sheriff's custody. Department officials say he had severe medical issues.
A local mom is on a flight to Spain right now to be with her sick daughter. The teen is in intensive care after coming down with a mysterious infection.
14-year-old Destiny is an incoming freshman at Madison High School who just graduated, promoted from 8th grade at Language Academy, and got the chance of a lifetime to study abroad this summer in Spain. Her mom, Whitney, says she got sick almost as soon as the trip started, and doctors haven't been able to figure out what infection she's fighting. Destiny's mom says their family lost Destiny's 3-year-old brother 7 years ago, and they're holding on to their faith they won't suffer that same kind of tragedy twice.
We've seen things, miracles happen, and I believe that God has something special for her, and she's gonna come out of this and tell an amazing story. It is absolutely heartbreaking for as a parent to watch your kid or your child go through something and you can't do anything.
Whitney, Destiny's mom, boarded a flight heading to Spain just about an hour ago at 5 p.m. She won't land in Spain until Friday night at 10, coming up tonight on CBS 8 News at 11. We'll hear more from this local family and have more on how you can help them.
One of the most powerful political positions in California is the Speaker of the Assembly. Today is Speaker Anthony Rendon's last full day holding that title.
He is one of the longest-serving speakers in the history of the state. Our political reporter Morgan Reiner sat down with him today for a one-on-one to discuss the highs and lows of his term and what's next for him.
Speaker Anthony Rendon still has over a year left as a regular Assembly member. He told me he hoped to finish out his term as a Speaker, but after 7 years of leadership, there was shakeup within the party. Anthony Rendon first became Speaker in 2016. He told me his favorite personal accomplishment was his work to redevelop the Los Angeles River in his district. For Californians as a whole,
it's a good question. I think, the extent to which we stood up to Donald Trump when he got elected and throughout his presidency, I think that meant a lot to a certain part of Californians.
he says there's a lot he didn't get to accomplish in his 7 years as the party's leader.
Where do I start? I'll start with volume one. I think there's a lot around our tax system. Sort of reforming our tax system.
To go further on the tax structure, how do you think it needs to change?
Well, I think we need to look at the extent to which we don't tax services, for example. I think we need to look at our income tax brackets. The volatility of our revenue is something that, we shouldn't have to monitor the stock market every morning in order to figure out if we're going to be able if we're going to be in deficit or not.
The California legislature under his leadership has passed countless bills in recent years to try and address the homeless crisis, but Rendon is the first to admit the issue is getting worse.
We haven't had any profound or meaningful impact yet. Again, I think we've set up a lot of structures, a lot of processes, funding that will allow success in the failure. But as I've said, in the past, it took a generation to get where we are in terms of this housing crisis. It's going to take a long time.
Assemblymember Robert Rivas first told Speaker Anthony Rendon a year ago he had enough votes to secure the speakership role.
Was the last year bumpy? Yes. Was it bumpier than I think it needed to be? Yes. But we are where we are, and I'm comfortable with it.
What's next for you?
I'm going to be an Assembly member starting tomorrow. Tremendous amount of needs in the district, disadvantaged communities throughout the district, so I'm really excited about it.
And potentially a statewide position?
Running for state treasurer in 2026, which is a ways off, but I'm excited about that too.
We spoke for a while. I asked about his relationship working with Republicans, working with multiple governors, and more. But to end the conversation, I asked about fun facts nobody knows about him. He doesn't know how to swim, so he's going to start taking swim lessons with his 4-year-old daughter, Vienna. The full interview will be put online.
Thanks, Morgan. Still ahead tonight, a major heat wave turns deadly in one part of the U.S.
And here at home, you may not realize just how quickly it can get to triple digits inside your car. Coming up, a warning tonight for parents and pet owners.
And we are already starting to see the heat develop across the inland microclimates, mountains, and deserts as an excessive heat warning covers much of the state and an excessive heat watch for most of San Diego County. I'm meteorologist Sean Stiles with your microclimate forecast.
And a working for you follow-up tonight, how new bollards on a busy street in Pacific Beach are working out so far.